Belichick throws up this impenetrable wall. You can't get through to him. He's going to keep this professional, and you cannot argue with the results. The Patriots have been, over the last half of this dynasty, much more dominant than they ever were over the first half. It's been incredible.
I think the thing that needs to be said about this is that Bill Belichick has gotten a bad rap. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say it in this regard. Bill Belichick is one of those people that he's saying, look, it's none of your damn business what goes on internally. It's about results. And at the end of the day, as long as we show up to work and we handle our business, what goes on in preparation of those things, that's our business. You don't come to me with gossip about people from the outside that we've never met, that we've never talked to, that supposedly knows what we're going through, what we have to endure en route to accomplishing what we accomplish. In the end, our success or failures are determined by our results. 5 Super Bowl championships, 8 Super Bowl appearances, now going on a 9th, for crying out loud. What is there to talk about here? And if you look at it from that perspective, the reason why I think he gets a bad rap is because when has that not happened in corporate America? No matter what line of work you're in, no matter what business, people don't always get along in between the lines, per se. What happens is that the end result, the product that you put forth before everybody, what you're ultimately judged upon, is what Bill Belichick is saying he wants to entertain. He's not going to entertain somebody saying, well, you and Tom Brady didn't get along. It's my job to win games. Sometimes as a coach, I'm going to make decisions that aren't popular to those respective players. If you are a player who's a champion as much as Tom Brady has been a champion, you may disagree with me from time to time because you believe you built enough cachet that warrants you disagreeing with me. Either way you slice it, tell me how that is y'all business. That's what Bill Belichick is saying, other than telling everybody to go kiss his you-know-what. And I have no problem with it whatsoever. In fact, I applaud it.
Bill's basically laughing at everybody. When everyone talks about all the relationship between Tom and Bill, Bill's like, what in the hell does that have to do with us going out here and going to 9 Super Bowls, winning 5, when is the Patriot? Because really what this is all about is all about when is this Patriot dynasty going to end. Everyone's trying to infiltrate and see what cracks they can get in to see, okay, is this thing really going to come to an end? Like, is this finally it for the Patriots? Bill's like, no, listen. Our relationship between, myself and Tom Brady is clearly professional. We don't have this big-time personal relationship because we don't need to have a personal relationship to do what we're in the business of doing, and that's winning football games.
But let me ask you this. When all the Jimmy Garoppolo stuff was brewing in terms of Bill trying to retain Jimmy and essentially Robert Kraft intervened, you don't think there are any fractures in the relationship?
Well, what happens is this. If I'm a winner and I've enabled you to be viewed upon as a winner as well because you didn't win until I arrived, meaning that as a head coach, as a defensive coordinator, certainly Bill Belichick has his credentials under Bill Parcells. We understand that. But as a head coach, you never won until I arrived. And so if you are of the belief that that's something that was being shoved aside in favor of an unproven commodity that you're raising up, there might be some degree of resentment, but the resentment is fueled in the moment where you're trying to hold on to what you've built and what you've accomplished so you can dictate how you depart from this game. Once it's accomplished, you might remember it, but you ain't holding on to it because you still got what you wanted. And that's the Tom Brady, Belichick situation.
Let me say one thing right quick.
Yeah.
This whole, as far as this whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing, no one's denying that these type of things weren't happening behind the scenes. The difference between the Patriots and all the other organizations, they do a much better job of managing these type of situations. Look what's happening with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everything that's transpired this whole year with the Pittsburgh Steelers played itself out in public. They weren't able to manage it, and the team basically imploded and missed the playoffs.
Max, let me just say this before you go. You're right about that, but that's why I gave Bill Belichick credit, because you see what happens is that the difference in that comparison is really Tom Brady compared to Big Ben Roethlisberger. Tom Brady's got nothing to say. Big Ben Roethlisberger had a lot to say, and as a result, it contributed to alienating some cats.
But you know why he doesn't have anything to say? Because the one thing that Coach Belichick demands in that building, there's only going to be one voice. There's not going to be a guy going out there and delivering different type of messages that's not in line with what Coach Belichick
And the reason he has
everyone.
that kind of power is because he's also the GM and he can make personnel decisions. And the reason he has that power is because he's great at evaluating talent and all those things. He is the greatest football mind and executive and coach of all time. I don't think it's particularly close. I think Belichick's lapping the field. And what he and Brady seem to have in common, you know, as a Yankees fan, a huge Mariano Rivera fan,
Okay.
and who's the greatest closer of all time.
Right.
Rivera gave up World Series losing hits, right? The
Blue singles, but go
For
ahead.
sure. As soon as it happened, it was out of his mind. And try that in your own life. Mess up something and really put it out of your mind and look forward. Very difficult to do. It's easy to pay lip service, difficult to do. And Belichick and Brady both deal in reality. Yes, Belichick wanted Garoppolo. He wanted a succession plan, whether or not Brady would have been there this year.
Yeah.
He wanted to do it that way. Yes, he wanted to trade Gronk. But when those things didn't happen, Belichick doesn't dwell, it seems to me, on what he wanted, what could have been. He dwells on what is. Both Brady and Belichick are amazing, and it's the reason they're a different team every week, and they always the task at hand, whether the team they're facing is good or bad. They don't play up or down in their competition. They focus at the job at hand, on the job at hand.
Do your job. It's their mantra.
But to do it the way they do it and really block everything else out and deal in reality the way they do is much more difficult, obviously, than it sounds.
Well, you make a very salient point. I would say this to you, though, in terms of what you both just alluded to, one voice, one voice, one voice. Well, it wasn't one voice after the Super Bowl. When he benched Malcolm Butler, there was a whole bunch of voices that spoke out against what he did. The difference is that it's over and done with. There's nothing you can do about it. Let's move forward.